Blue Jays Nation. Hold on tight, because the atmosphere in Las Vegas is heavy. Toronto has become one of the most talked about teams at the general manager's meetings. Inquiries coming from every direction. Conversations about reinforcements in practically every area of the roster, and that clear feeling that the front office is willing to dig deep to rebuild after the bitter World Series defeat. Shortstop, rotation, bullpen, power in the lineup. Everything is on the table. Nothing is off limits. And in the middle of this whirlwind, the big theme of the week emerges. Blue Jays. For trade targets that they are willing to empty the farm system. For completely different paths. For massive risks. For possibilities capable of changing the course of next season if the club decides to pay the price. The blue and white faithful can feel in the air. That rare moment when hope and tension walk side by side. When every rumor can be the spark for a major turnaround or the beginning of an even deeper rebuild. Toronto's heart beats louder when the market heats up, and right now, it is boiling. So leave a like and comment below, Blue Jays Nation, because this is exactly when the voice of the fan needs to come through strong, when the team's future is on the table. Trade target 1, Ketel Marte. Perfect, Blue Jays Nation. Let's dive into the first trade target. And this one already hits the fan base right in the heart. Toronto enters this offseason carrying the weight of the World Series loss. It's not a small wound. It's the kind that leaves a mark, the kind that demands a response, the kind that requires immediate action. And that's why the atmosphere in Las Vegas is so heated when the talk turns to Toronto Blue. The Jays are being contacted from all sides. Pitchers, power hitters, even international names. Everything at once. All because the team knows that to climb back to the top, they need to move now. And the most sensitive point of all is shortstop. Seeing Bo Bichette reaching free agency for the first time brings that strange feeling of uncertainty. And the team can't wait around for the market to decide what happens next. The picture gets even heavier when we look at the rotation. Even with Yesovich emerging and Bieber returning, there's an obvious hole there. A hole that already cost him dearly in the past. And thinking about another long season with the bullpen stretched to its limit, nobody wants to relive that movie. The search for a power bat also shows the front office understands. This offense needs more impact if it wants to compete with the monsters of the American League. And what came next, nobody saw it coming. Because that's when the trade rumors began to surface. Heavy ones, about players who can change the trajectory of a franchise. Names that were already circulating around the league since last winter, and others that popped up now. The result of accelerated rebuilds or contracts too big for small market teams to carry. The truth is, Toronto is right in the center of the perfect storm, with prospects whose value is high, with room to make bold moves, and with the obligation to look ahead without fear. And that's where Ketel Marte enters the picture. 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, one of the most versatile players in the league, but one who always seems to play in the shadows. Since 2019, over 168 home runs, a .281/.351/.472 line across 1,230 games. Last season, an .893 OPS, 28 home runs, and a 4.4 WAR. A silent monster. The type of player who doesn't arrive making noise, but changes everything the moment he steps on the field. And the most tempting part? The contract. 6 years for $102.5 million with an option. In a market as inflated as today's, that's almost a rarity. But as always in the life of the blue and white fan, it comes with a catch. The injury history. Nothing catastrophic, but present enough to leave a bit of bitterness. And of course, the price. Arizona wouldn't part with that level of talent without asking for the world in return. Still, the idea of Marte in Toronto lights a fire instantly if Bichette doesn't return. Shifting Andrés Giménez to shortstop and bringing Marte in would be bold. It would be different. It would be the kind of move that separates good teams from teams that actually want to return to the World Series. But I want to hear from you, Blue Jays Nation. Would it be worth giving up young talent to put Ketel Marte in blue and white at Rogers Center? Trade target 2, Joe Ryan. So let's keep going, Blue Jays Nation, because the second trade target puts Toronto face-to-face once again with an old acquaintance, the Minnesota Twins. First of all, the state of the team makes it clear why this rumor gains so much force. In the middle of the search for stability in a rotation, the Jays look at the market and see what we all already know. A reliable arm costs a lot, and cost today is more than money. It's prospects, it's courage, it's vision. Even more after a season in which every detail on the mound mattered, and mattered a lot. On the road to the World Series. That's why the idea of pursuing an established pitcher with solid numbers and reasonable contractual control seems more than logical. It seems necessary. And where does that lead us? To the Twins. Again. And what came next, nobody saw coming. Because on the other side, in Minnesota, the name Joe Ryan returned to trade conversations with full force. Ryan, now 29, finally broke out. His season was a huge leap. A 3.42 ERA, a 3.74 FIP, a 1.035 whip any manager would take in a heartbeat. More than 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. Strong command, just 2.1 walks per 9. And the detail that catches every analyst's attention. His two primary pitches, the four-seam fastball and the sweeper, were practically unhittable, with XBA marks of .197 and .175. That's not stability. That's elite. The Twins' math is simple. They're moving pieces. They already traded several players at the last deadline, and even big names like Byron Buxton have appeared in rumors, with Ryan and Pablo Lopez climbing the arbitration ladder. This might be the perfect moment for Minnesota to capitalize on their peak value. For them, it makes sense, and for Toronto, it does too. But here's where the fan base steps in. Because the question hits the Blue Jays nation right in the chest. Is Joe Ryan the kind of pitcher worth sacrificing prospects for now in exchange for immediate solidity? The trade history between the two teams is strong, and Toronto has come out on top in some of those deals. But every move has its price, and this one would not be cheap. Behind the scenes, there's no drama, no controversy, just pure logic. Toronto wants an impact arm. Minnesota knows they have one. And the market knows someone is going to knock on the door, if they haven't already. And the final contrast is inevitable. Joe Ryan represents exactly what the rotation lacks today. A pillar, a guy who can face any lineup without flinching. Last season showed the team has youth, has talent, but still needs real depth. A situation the fan base has seen before. A situation that becomes costly when October arrives. And in the end, the question hangs in the air, heavy like the silence in Rogers Center after an elimination. Is this the moment for Toronto to be aggressive again? Trade target 3, Edward Cabrera. So let's go Blue Jays Nation, because the third target is the kind of name that divides opinions, sparks curiosity, and puts any fan instantly on high alert. Edward Cabrera. The state of the team makes it clear why this conversation came back. Toronto needs real depth in the rotation. They need arms that can survive months of battles, especially after a season in which every inning mattered and every mistake became a scar. And it's in this scenario, urgency, pressure, and a quiet rebuild, that Cabrera reappears as a possibility. He has been on this radar before. Last winter, trade deadline, rumors that came and went, and now, once again, he appears as a name that could change the look of the blue and white pitching staff. And what came after, nobody expected. Because when you look at Edward Cabrera's season, you immediately understand why so many teams get tempted. He made 26 starts, a 3.53 ERA, a 3.83 FIP, a 1.228 whip over 137 and 2/3 innings, his new career high. His strikeout rate dropped a bit, but remained strong at 9.8 K/9, and his command, long at 10's point, improved to 3.1 walks per 9. It's the kind of evolution that draws attention, that shows maturity, that makes any GM look twice. And then comes a detail that really flips the switch, the changeup and, especially, the curveball. Two pitches that were real weapons this year. The curveball posted an absurd 45.2% whiff rate and a 44.3% strikeout rate. That's elite stuff. That's raw talent. That's the kind of tool that, with the right adjustment, becomes a lineup's nightmare. But Blue Jays fans know this feeling, because right behind the shine comes a shadow. Cabrera has an injury history that worries. Several IL stints in recent years, lost time in 2022, 2023, 2024. Even with all the potential, He has never made more than 26 starts. He has only passed 100 innings once. It's that mix of fascination and fear that Blue Jays Nation has learned to recognize. Behind the scenes, the appeal is clear. He enters his second year of arbitration with a low projected salary, and as a Super 2, he still has 3 extra years of team control. That is gold for a team trying to balance payroll and depth, but control costs prospects. And in the case of a talented but physically fragile player, the risk is heavy, very heavy. And in the final contrast, the dilemma becomes obvious. Cabrera represents hope, represents upside, represents a future that could be huge if everything breaks right. But he also represents the weight of repeating past mistakes, betting big on players who aren't available 100% of the time. Blue Jays Nation has lived through this, has felt this fluctuation, has paid that price. So the remaining question is direct, raw, impossible to ignore. Is it worth risking talent and youth for an arm that could explode or could break? Trade target 4, Hunter Greene. So let's wrap up this round of heavy rumors, Blue Jays Nation, because the fourth target is the one that makes any fan sit up straight, hold their breath and think, if this happened, it would change everything. We're talking about Hunter Greene. The state of the team makes it clear why this name suddenly became the forbidden dream of the fan base. Toronto needs an arm that isn't just good. They need a dominant one. A guy who changes a series, who commands respect, who sends Rogers center into chaos every time he steps on the mound. After a season that ended in the pain of the World Series, it's clear that the next step is not just fixing flaws, it's raising the team ceiling. It's finding someone who puts the blue and white among the true giants. And what came next, nobody expected, because Hunter Greene is exactly that kind of rare talent. His last 2 seasons look like something out of a video game. A 2.76 ERA over 258 innings, only 79 earned runs, a 0.984 whip, a 3.39 FIP, a 162 ERA plus, and above all, 301 strikeouts. Those are the kinds of statistics that make any fan picture October instantly. They make you feel like you're looking at a future ace in peak form. And when you look at his weapons, the excitement grows. His average fastball at 99 miles per hour is pure poison, a run value of plus 20. Opponents held to a .208 XBA and a .260 WOBA. It's the kind of fastball that defines careers. And then comes a slider, a monster, with a 46.9% whiff rate and a .177 XBA. 2 elite weapons. 2 tools capable of dominating entire games without looking back. But like everything involving special talent, there's also risk. Greene has missed games because of groin issues and other injuries in 2022, 2023, and 2024. Nothing that diminishes the talent, but enough to remind everyone that betting on a player of this caliber never comes cheap. And behind the scenes, the situation gets even more complicated. Reds president Nick Krall has already made it clear he doesn't want to trade Greene. Not now, not easily. For that to change, Toronto would need to put something almost unthinkable on the table. Arjun and Mullah and more top prospects. Basically, I can't say no package. And even then, there'd still be doubt. Greene's contract is another irresistible factor. 3 years for $41 million, with the possibility of a 4th year, going to 60. For a pitcher of this level, that's a steal. A gift, the kind of contract that allows you to build a championship roster around him. And the final contrast hits deep in the fan base's heart. Greene represents the move that changes a team's identity. He represents courage, represents ambition, represents a chance to turn the World Series loss into fuel for something bigger. But he also represents risk, sacrifice, and a high price in the farm system, which has finally started to breathe again. And now, Blue Jays Nation, comes that question that keeps any passionate fan awake at night. Would you give up the future for such an explosive present in Hunter Greene? So let's close this journey, Blue Jays Nation, because after everything we went through in these 4 stories, the feeling is one. The Toronto Blue Jays are standing at crossroads that could define the team's next decade. The opening of the market in Las Vegas made clear what many already felt in their hearts. The blue and white cannot afford to stay the same. The World Series loss wasn't just a stumble, it was a warning. A message that this roster needs depth, power, stability, and above all, decision. And the 4 possibilities that emerge show exactly how big the challenge is. Ketel Marte would be the immediate adjustment. The versatile solution. The perfect bridge of Bo Bichette really closes his chapter in Toronto. Joe Ryan symbolizes stability, the kind of arm that brings security and maturity to the rotation. Edward Cabrera represents fascinating risk, The raw talent that could explode or could worry. And Hunter Greene, that's the dream. The move that changes everything. The bet that defines eras. The courage to say to the world, we're coming back to win now. Each name carries a different emotion, a different tension, a price of its own. And Blue Jays Nation knows this is the winter in which the team cannot hesitate. The farm has started breathing again. The roster has stars. The moment is now. The pain of the World Series is still fresh. But the hope of building something even bigger beats stronger than ever. Because being a Blue Jay means this. Believing when everyone doubts. Suffering, dreaming, fighting, and rising again. It means wearing a jersey that represents resilience. It means knowing that Toronto Blue never gives up. Comment what you think, Blue Jays Nation, and leave a like to show that this passion never fades.